Hello, this is Professor Loushine, and in this presentation, we're going to do the annual analysis for all four data sets. So there's going to be a little bit of changes here, and this one actually took a little bit longer to set up because there's a lot more, I guess, manual work to do. But we're going to be using COUNTIF and SUMIF in order to add up the totals, whether it's a count or whether it's a total of what was paid for the different benefits. We're going to be using a scatterplot chart in order to visualize how things are trending over time per year. I remember we set up fiscal years in a previous presentation. And I'm also going to look at the average amount paid per claim. I'm going to be using the best fit line and an R squared just to see how well it represents what the data is. And then we're going to look at the last few years of each year just to see how many open claims there are and decide whether we're going to use them in our dollar amount trending or not. It's a little bit different when it comes to the count. The count isn't affected by open claims. It's already been done as long as the year has been completed. And then we're going to look a little bit further. We're going to look at the data with and without outliers, just so you can see what the difference is. It's not a tremendous difference. I just think you're going to be able to understand why I want to aim to be a little bit more conservative, just because I believe the data better fits when we use it that way. And then we're going to just kind of figure out whether the safety program is performing well or not. Here are some of the results from the description and the distribution. It's interesting, and I believe we've looked at this before, but it kind of just shows the breakdown of the data of each of the data sets for more of a 10,000 foot view. Now, one thing I had done and discussed this, mentioned this in the first video, I'm going to discuss it again, I believe, in the final video, is if you'll recall Heinrich Bird, and there are some newer pyramid, accident pyramid ratios that are out there. Now, this looks very different, and if I had the visualization, it'd be much more clearer. But I removed the near miss because the near miss, minor miss, close call, that bottom of the pyramid was always much, much larger. But this data set doesn't represent that. It only represents things that have been recorded in which people are going to attempt to file or claim a benefit. So what I did is I just brought it to the major injury and minor injury. I left in the Conoco 1 fatality. They went as far as bringing that big endpoint in, but it's by a factor much smaller. And so just looking at a ratio of major injury to minor injury, I broke it down by the counts they gave in their own pyramids, then by a percentage of what it represents. And then what I did is, remember for the distribution, I had broken it down by every level of 500 paid in the total claims. And so I did some searching online, and I found that some places name a major incident above $1 million. We only have a few of those. So what I did is I decided to put it $50,000 for no other reason that was kind of the end point of the my distribution. So I said anything over $50,000 as a claim is considered a major incident, and anything under 10,000 is a minor. You can argue with me that maybe it should be less than 1,000 or something like that, but just for the ease. Now, anything that's in between 10,000 and 50,000, I don't know. I didn't know what to classify that. Maybe there should be an additional a line in there somewhere. But what I found is if I went and took these three models, that the low for the major was 3.33% to a high of 9.36%. The minor was anywhere from just under 91% to up to 96 2/3. Look how our companies fall into this. So as far as the majors, we're below the low number for all these. And if we were to increase this number, we would be much even further lower. But then when it comes to the minors, we're actually in the range for each one of them. But then again, you could argue that this is anything above 5,000 maybe would be major depending on the company. But the way the numbers break down here, then I've got the $0 claims, the percent $0 claims down below. Again, it's not represented in the data set, so can't really use it, but I wanted to express it here. This is just sort of a side note. I thought that was interesting. I was thinking about it and I wanted to investigate it. So from the outlier analysis, we took some out, and here's the number of outliers removed from each. And if you could refer back to the video of how I accomplished these numbers. As far as a percent removed, it's anywhere from about 2.25% up to a little over 5.5%, depending. As far as the totals that were removed, it's substantial. It's anywhere from 53.5% up to close to 70% of the total benefits removed. As far as the new max, before they're higher, and my goal is to try to get it down to around 1%. We were able to accomplish that in 2 of the data sets, but 2 others that I believe were smaller anyway, we got it to below 2, and I guess that's good enough. We'll have to see how that works out in the end. As far as what is the average claim per outlier that was removed, you see they're quite substantial. It'd be interesting. They're all 50 and above, but it's an average, and so they're up there. And then the new average claim amount in what's left over, it's quite lower, a lot lower. If you remember, there was more around like 5,000 or 4,000 before. I could look back and I could show you. So the average, see, they went from like anywhere from 2,200 to 2,300 and down. So it's interesting. It's much more conservative. It's a much more conservative data set. And then when we look at it from an annual perspective, as we're trending it, you'll see that even more. Some of the things we're going to be doing, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be a little bit more interior counting, but we're going to be using basically the same actions, but then we're going to be using SUMIF and COUNTIF as I have here on the board, and then we're going to be adding trend lines and be looking at the data both with and without the outliers. So this is the general look. Though when I do without the outliers, I'm going to compare it to the ones with the outliers so you can see side by side what the 3 charts look like. And what I'll be doing is graphing over time the count of claims, the total paid in a different one, and then the average paid per claim using the total paid column. So this is basically what it looks like. Now the range allows us to look within a specific year. I counted the number of $0 claims. I probably won't do that for hours. It's not interesting. It's just I just want to see how they trend. Number of open claims, that's more important just to figure out the percent of open claims. If it's above 20% or above 15%, I should say, I probably won't use that year for trending costs because there's too many green or unmatured, unclosed claims. And then the max amount. This is with outliers in, obviously, and what the percent max does for that year, how much it accounts for. And then you'll see what it looks like with it out as well. So let's get to the data set. And I did the analysis for 3 of them. And so I'm just going to replicate it with the master, and then we'll look at all of them together. So I created 2 additional tabs, and I already brought over the data set from the master. So I've got, this is going to be with the outliers in, so it's the original master, and then I'm going to create one without once I've completed the one within, and you'll see how easy it works. So I already brought the table in, the table that you saw just previously. I'll try to increase or zoom in a little bit so you can see how I fill this out. So first we got to get the fiscal years entered, and in this particular data set, it goes up to 2019. This is already sorted by fiscal year, and it starts in 2009. So let's populate that column. I've been working on this stuff for a very long time today, trying to get it all done. So it goes up to 2019, and then I always have the totals to make sure. And see, look at the font's already weird. So let's do the count. So the count, this is column C. I'm just going to put a little C there to remind me. And so I'm going to go equal count if, didn't spell it right, count if. I've got to give the range and the criteria. The range is C2 to C, the bottom is 1523. And I'll scroll up so you can see that's the column I'm trying to get. Comma, and then the criterion is the fiscal year, but I can't click on it because it's brought over, so I'll have to type it in, and that would be A5, 1529, 1529. It lit it up, so there we go. Now, if I want to scroll this, I need to lock a few things, and what I really need to lock are the row numbers up here. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of the 2 and a $sign in front of the 1523, and now as I click and drag it, it should add it up for me. And I'm going to add up this column. This should equal 1522 if we did it right. What's the matter with you? Why didn't it do that? Let's see, let's try that again. I had no idea why it had a problem with that. But 1522, so we got it. Now let's do the next group. Let's see, the medical, that is S. So we've got S, T, U, And is total paid V, perhaps? It is. Okay, great. All right, so this is going to be a sum if. So I type equal sum if, and I got to give several criterion. First, the range of the original criteria, which is the fiscal year, which is column C, C2 to C1523. So I basically just identified, the entry of fiscal year. I have to give the criterion, which is over here on the left. I'm just going to click on that cell. So as I go up and down, it'll tell me for different years. It'll give it to me for different years. And then the range I want to add up is S2 to S 1523. 1523, that's the medical. I'm going to scroll over to show you. See, the medical is all highlighted. Yep. Hit return. So that's the amount. Now I need to freeze some things so I can drag it around. So I'm going to be moving up and down and left and right. I need these cells for the fiscal year. I need everything locked. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of the C and the number. So everything's locked. No matter where I drag this, it won't change. What did I just do? Okay, I fixed it. Now, as far as the criterion, as I go, I want it to go up and down, because as I go up and down, I want to fill it out. But when I go left to right, I need it to stay. So I'm just going to lock in the column, which is A. And then for the adding up of the numbers, I want it to go left and right as I move left and right, but I need to lock in the rows because those need to stay the same. So I put a $sign in front of the 2, a $sign in front of the 1523, hit return. So I've got the same number here, but what's great is now I can click this and drag it to there, and then drag it on over to the total paid. Let's add it up. And then I should be able to drag that over as well. And then we can check our work, because I can now go to the table here, and from here, I can't see at the same time, but so let's say for the total, it's 6307553, and it's 63075. So it all matches up, so I can compare my work. To get the average amount per claim, I'm just going to take the total paid divided by the count. I just click the two together. So I hit return, and then from there I can click and drag it, because for each year it'll calculate it, and I can actually do it for the total as well. I'm sorry, this is bothering me. I believe I'm working in Arial, and I believe the size, maybe the size is okay. You gotta just open those up so that doesn't have a problem. There we go. All right. Now, one thing is I want to find out this information as well. Not going to be as important when I look at without, this is with, but I need to get the ranges by fiscal year. You got to make sure that these are all set to text, because if you put in a colon and it's something else, it's going to try to call it time or date or something. Excel, trying to be smart, but it's not. So what I'm going to do now is go up here, and on a sheet that's off the screen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the rows for the ranges. So 2009 is 2, and then I scroll down to the transition, and it goes to 170. So I wrote that down. Then the next one, the fiscal year 2010, goes 171. I scroll down to 342. All right, wrote that down. Next one is 343, and I scroll down. 476. So what I do is I manually do that, and I did already go through and write all that down. And so I'm going to type it in just so you can see how I use this. And so my ranges are 170, 171 to 342, 343 to 476, 477 to 614, 615 to 701, and then 702 to 797, 798 to 950, 951 to 1141. Look at that. I don't like when it does that. 1142 to 1329, 1330 to 1510, 1511 through 1523, and that should be the last thing. Let's fix this real quick. Just want it to look good. That's all I want. No, that's not what I wanted. Just plain old Arial, centered nicely. So what I have now is all the rows that represent the fiscal years are now set up so I can actually perform functions or calculations within these ranges just by typing it in. So if I want to know what the number of $0 claims in these groups, I just have to find out which column I'm going to be looking at. For this, it's going to be total paid. Total paid, where'd you go, is V. And I just kind of put like a V there. Open claims, where do I have my open claims? That's under AA, column AA. Percent open claims, I'll be calculating that. Max paid is going to be under V. All right, and then I'll be figuring out the percent. So now, let's fill this out. So equal number of claims. So I'm going to widen it a little bit so I can like click on the thing. All right, so equal count if V2 to V170. So that's the total paid column, and then it's rows 2 to 170 because that's fiscal year 2009. And then if I just go comma 0, that's the criterion, it counts them for me. But I have to do it for each one because it's uniquely represented here by the rows. 342, 0. So you might be thinking, oh, that's a lot of work. Yeah, but I like to get my hands dirty when it comes to doing data analysis. You know, I don't like to take too much for granted. So, yeah, I forgot to put in the criterion. It reminds you. It won't let you get away with that. V477, V614. I try to say this stuff out loud because it kind of helps me go. V615 to V701, comma 0. Diff V to 702. And you might be thinking, well, why is he doing that? What does he want this for? It just, I'm trying to demonstrate that you can look within. Ooh, why is it going down? 798, V950. I hope it comes back up. Here we go. Count if V951, V1141. I gotta put in the 0. It's getting late at night. He's getting tired. Equals count if V1142 to V1329, 0. Count if V1330 to V1510, 0. Equals count if V1511. This is like not even a month's worth. 15, 23, but there should be a lot of open claims, and 11. All right, get that out of there. I don't like the way this is going, so I'm going to try to correct it all at once. Hopefully that did it. Same thing for open claims. Equal count if. This is AA2 to AA170, but then here I have to write in open. It's in quotes. AA171, AA342, if anything's open. Equal count if. AA243, AA476, open. AA477, AA1614, open. And notice I got to put in quotation marks. If it's a number, you don't have to. AA615, AA701, open in quotation. Equal count if AA702, AA797, open. And recall, this is with outliers still in, okay? We'll take them out again in a moment, and we won't have to redo all of this. It'll probably just be a few smaller things. So far, we're doing pretty good here. Count if AA951. Oh, I should go AA. I hope I didn't do that earlier. AA 951, AA 1141. I'm going fast to try to. Count if AA 1142, AA 1329. Open. I mean, we will do this again. AA 15 with the outliers removed, just to see. Ooh, diff. AA, this is really a small one. AA 1523. All right, now let's figure out the percentages. So I click on the cell for what it counted and divide it by the total count for that year. Boom. I have to oh, it's already percent. Awesome. Otherwise I would have changed it. Move over here. See where we are. All right, equals sum. So what I'm seeing, compare my work here. Can't add up the text. All right. So what did we have for, so we've got 65 open claims represented. Before we had 65, so that's correct. As far as $0 claims, we had 126, and we had, what? Uh-oh, I must have typed in something incorrectly there. Let's check it. So $0 claims. So 2 to 70, 171, 342, 342. This should be 343. Got it. So I just debugged. That's how I do it. And it happens, but I just showed you that's how I do it. I just go from 1 to 1 to make sure that everything lines up, because sometimes you type in the wrong digit and boom. That's why you always check your work as well. Check your work. Let's find out what the max claims are per. What I'm seeing here is I'm not going to use this fiscal year when it comes to trending money. I'm going to have to go 2009 to 2017. And I'll show that in a second. I want to see what the max claims are first. This is just equals max. And I put in V, I'm sorry, not Z, V2 to V170. Sorry, so used to typing those things. Yoinks. V342. Another thing, when you finish this part, I think you've earned yourself a drink. So you go ahead. You do you. 243. Not if you're at work. If you're at home doing this on the weekend, what did I just do? I did count if. No, I haven't started early. Just tired, man. 477 V614 equals max V615 V701 max V702 V797 equals max V798 V950 V951 V1141 1142 1329 max V1330 V1510 last one 1511 V, oh, that's not right, V1523. All right, let's make sure these are all to currency. Take away those. Yeah, looks good. All right, let's figure out the maxes of that year. So I click on that claim, I divide it by the total paid. And it's already in percentages for me. That's nice. So you can see the impact of the most expensive claim. Again, this is what the outlier is still in. And depending on the data set, these are going to be really high or really low. But it's going to help us. So let's do some graphing now to see what the trend is. Because this is right next to each other, I can just highlight the fiscal year and the count. And I'm just going to go through 2018 because, again, we only have 1 month into 2019. And this doesn't matter. Did I copy that? What was I doing? Get that. I'm just going to highlight it. And then I'm going to go up to Insert and choose Scatterplot. And there it is. So let's bring her down here. And so I've already got the year in there. See, it's got this interesting snake type thing. I left click on one of the data points and I go to add trend line. Left click on that. This thing pops up over here. I think linear is the default. And then I'm going to put in the R square. R square is just a representation of how well the data fits the best fit line. Okay, so overall, we've got 2 years here, this 2013, 2014, which they had a dip, but it went down to the dip and now it's back up again. And you see that this line kind of skewers that set. All right, let's look at total paid. I'm going to highlight it. I'm not going to include 2018 because it's got 21.55% of the claims still open. I'm going to insert scatterplot. Okay. And now what I want to do is add the years because I wasn't able to cover that. So what I do is I right click on one of the data points. I go select data. I go in and I hit edit on the total paid. You see the X values are open. So I'll click on that little box and then I'll just click and drag it. It'll capture it for me. And hit OK. Now I've got the graph. Bring it down here. Hello. This thing just sometimes it doesn't like me. It kind of, it's too flat. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing I did just a moment ago. I'm going to add a trend line. It's going to be linear. I'm going to put in the R squared. And there we go. See, we've got this weird bump up here. How well do these coincide? Well, they're different. Similar but different. Getting punchy. All right, let's do the averages. I'm not going to use 18 because that's not complete yet. Let's go into scatter. I've been literally working on this for about 8 hours, I think, trying to get everything set up from what we had done before. Get out of my way. And now, look at it. It's so hard to get this stuff to move. Just do it for me, please. Brought it down here. And I got to click on one of the data points, go to select data, got to edit, put in the fiscal years. What did I do? Did that work? Let's go down here and see. Yep, it did. All right, let's put in the trend line and the R squared. Okay. As far as R squareds go, when it's above 0.5, that's really good. None of these are. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to save my work real. That's one thing. I don't know if I mentioned that. You always save your work like every few minutes, just to make sure. All right, so I've got this clear sheet for the no outliers. So I'm going to copy, Control C, and go up to A1 and paste it, Control V. So I just brought over everything I just did. Don't believe me? I'm going to show you. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and so here are the figures we just made. Here's the data table we just completed, and that's there. I'll kind of zoom it a little bit for you. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to I'm going to make sure there's a space. So if I'm going to use the filter thing, going fast. It is. Okay, so that row 1524 is open, so I can do this. Highlight the header row. Go into data, filter. So now I can sort by these things. So what am I going to sort by? Total paid. And I'm going to do it from high to low. And I'm going to get rid of the ones that I had gotten rid of before. Largest first. It did it for me. Now I'm looking at my notes. And so this particular data set B, we had a total of 1,522 claims. And we originally figured out we're going to remove the top 51. That's what we had done in the previous video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight rows down to 52 because that will cover 51. And if you don't believe me, we can go over here. Oh, the numbers are different. Sorry, it doesn't help. If there's a header row and we take away one, we're at 51. So then I'm going to do the, I did that before too, Control X to cut. And then I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to paste them below our work here. I like to pick a nice round number, so I'm just going to go to 1600, hit paste. So it removed it, and now it updated. The problem is the ranges have changed. Oh, so we're going to have to get rid of this stuff. I'm just going to go, update itself when I did the percentages. So I'm going to clear contents, and I'm going to clear contents. and I'm going to have to go back up. Now, these are the old tables. These tables are based off of the previous work, so you actually have to run new ones. But these have been updated, so this is still good. So we can actually create the charts right now. But you know what? Let's go ahead and put the ranges in. What do we have to do here? I forgot to show you the shortcut. So I'm going to take off the filter on that header row. I'm going to copy the header row. I'm going to put it right above the new data, but I'm going to turn that row into the sorting or the filtered row. I'm going to go back to the fiscal year, do smallest. So now I'm back to the original sort by fiscal year with the outliers removed. So now what I want to do is go through and count. So I've got row 53 through, I'm writing it down elsewhere, 53 through 216, and then 217 through 384, so on and so forth. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put those in quick. Make sure they're text. They are. Okay. So my ranges, 53 to 216, 217 to 384, 385 to 515, 516 to 647, 648, 648, 728, 729 to 822, 823. I do it there so I make sure it's consecutive. 969, 970 should be the next one, 1153, and then 1154 through 1335, 1336 through 1510, and then 1511 through 1523. All right, so I've got those ranges now. I really only need to look at for the open claims 18, because that's the only one I removed because of it. So I'm just going to go equal count if AA 1336 through gotta put the colon in, AA 1510 is open. So it's still up there. So I'm not going to use it. So it's going to be very similar to before. If we had removed a lot of the open, then I might have, but I'm not going to. So let's do the count first. Oh, let's do the max first. V53. So you can see how much it changed. 216 equals max. V217, 384. V385 to V515. V516 to V647. V648, V728, max, V729, up, V822, some just drove by, max, V823, V969, V970, V1153, 1154 to V, I hit caps lock, 1335, V1336, 1510, and equals max V1511. My fingers are starting to get tired too. 1523. All right, let's graph these things. See how much it went down. They're at 23,000, 26, 26, 27,000. And before, 80, almost 200. You see how much different it is? And look how the max percent, I don't think I calculated that, but it was everything from 1303 up to 37-ish. So let's calculate that real quick. Real easy to do. Oh, it did it for us. Look how low it is. Look at that. It's why is he getting so excited about this? Just M. But 5.3% and up to under 10. It's cool, right? It doesn't. So one single claim doesn't influence our risk priority numbers, which we're going to do in the next video, and then you'll really understand. Up till now, you just had to trust me. So I'm not going to use fiscal year 18. I'm going to do the insert scatter plot and see what it looks like. We didn't. I mean, we took out some. This isn't gonna change much. Best fit line, R squared. Because it's just a count. You know, the count, it doesn't matter as much. It got a little bit worse, I guess. Whatever. All right, let's look at the total paid. That's where we're going to see the most significant change. I'm just going to go through 17. Insert scatter plot. Come on. Work with me, darling. All right, I'm gonna need to left click on a data, go to select data, go into total paid, edit. I'm gonna give it its X values, which is there. Okay. All right, this is what I'm interested in. So you saw before, we had a really high point here in 2016. We just have a really low here at 13. Let's do the trend line. Give it the R square treatment. Okay. Okay, so according to the R square, our best fit line is even worse off by a factor of about 50% of what it was. But do you see how the dots, we have a dip in 13, which kind of screws things up. But if that was up closer, and if 17 was a little bit lower, what's that? Why is 17 so high? What's our max? 26. Interesting. I see more consistency. It looks better, I think. All right, let's do the average. Let's see what happens. We'll go all the way through 17, insert scatter plot. And hard to move things around. Okay. And right click, go to select data. I'm going to edit and give it its X value. Oh, no. There we go. That really screwed things up. All right. Let's see what she looks like. Yeah, this looks a little bit smoother, I think. Let's see what the R square says about that. No, it says it was better before. I don't know. It's got that high point in 17 that wasn't there before. But look at the y-axis. So this one, the high is 3,000, and basically we're right in between 3,000 and 1,500 here. It's from between 6,000 and here. So we've greatly changed the rate. We've made it much more conservative with how much has been paid, and that's going to serve us as we move forward. So I just really quickly want to go through and look at all of them now. So here is data set A. You see we got the high percent maxes. Here's that. Let's look at it with the removed. See, they went down, except that's a 13, but still it's substantially lower. And as far as the without outliers, it looks like the data set A, the CT program's been doing pretty well. There's a downward trend on all of these. So we'll have to really work hard to see where we can set priorities to improve that program. We just did B, so let's go to C. And I'm just going to go to C without the outliers real quick. Go up here, see the max percents are low. These claims are really low. As far as the count's going up both ways. Total paid was going down when outliers were in. When it came out, it's pretty flat. And the average amount was going down, but now it's flatter, but it's still declining slightly. That's interesting, and see how different the y-axes are. And I believe we've got one more to look at. And remember, this is our monster data set. And let's see what we've got. This is with the outliers removed. Count-wise, they had a huge dip in 2018, but it's a full fiscal year. You can go up here and look. See, it goes all the way through. Here it's meant to. It's an odd year. It's kind of making everything drop off. But we'll see what we can find. The total paid. See, it's kind of all over the place. It got a little bit tighter here with the outliers removed, and the average claim, I think, something similar. Pretty level there. So we kind of looked at everything. Found some interesting insights. Talked about the what the stuff means. So each data set, there's always potential to find improvements, but this is a much more honest comparison, much more honest analysis, because I do break it down and you can look at, the impact. This is no outliers, and yet that's still pretty high. I mean, these are much higher than the previous ones, but see, their impact is a lot lower. So this is going to become much more important when we start multiplying percent count by percent total paid, because that risk priority number is, we're going to do a rank order for our priorities, and that's why we're doing what we're doing right now. So join me in the next one, in which I'll go really in depth into what this all means.